morning. We're going to continue with our second part of our story, Moby Dick. Today we're going to be covering the chase, the third day. Okay, go ahead.
The morning of the third day dawned fair and fresh, and ousted the solitary night man at the foremost then was relieved by crowds of the daylight lookouts, who dotted every mast of almost every spar.
So Captain Ahab is looking out towards the sea to see if he sees the whale. Go ahead.
Did you see him? Cried Ahab, but the whale was not yet in sight.
Hasn't been able to be spotted yet. They haven't seen the whale.
In sure wake, though, but follow that wake, that's all. Helm there steady as it goes and has been going. What a lovely day again. We're a new made world, and made for a summer house to the angels. And this morning first of throwing open to them a fairer day could not dawn upon that world. Here's the food for thought, but Ahab time to think, but Ahab never thinks. He only feels. That tingling enough for a mortal man to
Remember what we said about he doesn't what? He doesn't think, he feels. If he thinks too much, he's gonna stop and not do what he's intending to do. If he feels, that feeling is gonna drive him forward, going forward to, in this case, continue with his vengeance, his revenge. But
God only has the right and privilege. Thinking is, or ought to be, coolness and not calmness. And our poor hearts throb, and our poor brains beat too much for that. And yet I've sometimes thought my brain was very calm.
He's saying that the only one that has the ability to think is God. Go ahead.
Frozen calm and old school cracks them, like a glass in which the contests turned to ice and shivered. And still this hair is growing now. This moment growing, and heat must breed it. But no, it's like a sort of common grass that will grow anywhere. Between the earthy openings of the green ice, or in Nisibus lava. How the wild wind blows, they whip it about me in torn shreds of split sails, lash, and tossed ship they cling to. An unpleasant wind that has no doubt blow are they through prison corridors and cells, wards of hospitals, and ventilated them, and now comes blowing towards an innocent of fleeces.
Okay, stop there. This page up to the end is going to be explaining what the wind does. How the wild wind blows it, then whip it about me as torn thread, split sails, lash he tosses the ship, they cling to. Like going inside the ship and it's going out. It's going to be describing the wind.
Out upon it, it's harmful work. Really good. Out upon it, it's harmful where the wind. I blow no more on such a wicked, miserable world.
He's saying, if I was the wind, I wouldn't blow on this miserable world.
I'd crawl somewhere to a cave and slink there.
Then he would prefer to go and hide inside a cave instead of blowing the world.
And yet it's no more heroic thing, the wind, whoever conquered it. In every fight it the last and harsh blow. Run tilting at it, and you but run through it. Ha, a coward wind that strikes up absolutely naked men, but will not stand to receive a single blow.
So he's calling the wind coward because he goes by people not being able to receive an attack. The wind blows, for example, the wind of a storm, it blows. It destroys everything, but can you destroy the wind? No, you're not able to. That's what he's saying, that the wind is a coward. Right.
Even Ahab is a braver thing, a noble thing than that. Would now the wind but only bodiless as objects, not as angels.
Remember what we said about Ahab, that he's constantly challenging nature. He did it with Moby Dick. He did it, I'll strike the sun if it insulted me. That's another challenge to the nature. And right here is a challenge to the wind.
There's most special, a most trickery, or at most cruel difference. And yet I say again, I swear it now, that there's something all glorious and gracious in the wind. These warm trade winds, at least in the clear heavens, blow straight. on and strong and steady, forceful, severe, and not to turn from the mark. However, the baser currents of the sea may turn and tack, and mightiness Mississippi's of the land swift and steadily change, uncertain where to go at last. And by the eternal poles, there are some trades that so directly blow my good ship on. These trades are something like them, something so unchangeable and full of strong. Blow my keel so along, to it overhead there. What you see, nothing, sir. Nothing, sir. Nothing, and noon at hand. The double goes a begging. See the sun, aye, it must be so. I oversailed him. How to got the start? Aye, he's chasing me now. Not I, him. That's bad. I might have known it too. Fool, the lines, the harpooners he's towing. Aye, I have run him by the last night. About, come down, all ye by the regular lookouts, man the braces. Steering as she had done, the wind had been somewhat on the Peacock's quarter, so that now being pointed in the reverse direction, and Bray's ship sails hard upon the breeze, as she reached the cream in her own white wake.
Stop there. They spotted the whale, however, they oversailed the whale. They passed through without noticing. All right.
Against the wind, he now steers for the open jaw, murmured Starbuck to himself.
Open jaw is like against the wind. It's like we're gonna go against the jaw of the whale.
As he coiled the new hauled main brace upon the rail. God keep us, but already my bones feel damp within me, and from the inside wet my flesh. I misdoubt that I disobey my God in obeying him. Stand by.
It said, I disobey my God in obeying Captain Ahab. It's like I went from what I wanted to do, and I'm following the orders of this guy, so I'm going away from what I really want to do.
And stand by to sway me up, cried Ahab, advancing to the hempen basket. We should meet him soon.
The hempen basket is like you have the pole, you have like a basket for the watchmen to go and watch what do they have on site. That's that basket. Go ahead.
Aye, sir. And straightway Starbuck did Ahab's bidding, and once more Ahab swung on high. A whole hour now passed, gold leading out to ages. Time itself now held long breath in keen suspense. But at last, some 3 points of the weather bow, Ahab described the spout again, and instantly from the three mastheads, three shrieks went up as if the tongues of fire had voiced it.
So after a while, he finally spotted the spout of the whale.
Forehead to forehead, I meet thee. This third time, Moby Dick on deck there, braced
Third meeting
sharper
already between Ahab and Moby Dick.
crowd her into the white wind's eye. He's too far off to lower yet. Mr. Starbuck, the sails shake. Stand over the helmsman with the topmaul. So, he travels fast, and I must down. But let me to have one more good round look overhead here at the sea. There's a time for that. An old sight, and yet somehow so young, and not changed the wing since I first saw it. A boy from the sand hills of Nantucket. The same to Noah as to me. There's soft shower to leeward, such lovely leewardings.
You stop right there. He is comparing the sight. And it's like when he was young, it has not changed the sea. It has been the same way over the years. It's like, for example, you pass through the area of Old San Juan, and you see the sea right there. Like every time they have passed, it has been the same way. That view does not change. It changes the structures around it, but the view of that nature site is still the same. All right.
There must be somewhere to something else that come and land, more palmly than the palms. Leeward, the white whale goes that way. Look to windward, then better to the unpleasant quarter. But goodbye. old masthead. What's this? Read, I, tiny Moses, in these warped cracks. No such green weather stains in Ahab's head. There's a difference now between man's old age and problems. But I, O mast, we must grow old together. Sound in our holes through our weak not my ship.
Now, stop right now. He is like speaking to the ship. He is saying that they're growing old together. A lot of voyages, a lot of travels. But however, ship is getting old and Ahab is getting old. Go ahead.
I minus a leg, that's all. By heaven, this dead wood has the better life, live flesh every way. I can't compare with it. And I've known some ships made dead trees outlast the lives of men, made of the most vital stuff, of vital fathers. What's that he said? He should still go before me, my pilot, and yet to be seen again, but where? Will I have my eyes at the bottom of the sea, supposing I descend those endless stairs? And all night I've been sailing from him. Whenever he did sink, I, like many more, thought fatal truth as touching thyself. Or pars, but Ahab, there's thy only shot fell short. Goodbye, masthead. Keep a good eye upon the whale. The whale, I'm gone.
Why do you think he's telling, keep a good eye on the whale while I'm gone? They're going to lower away. When he lowers away, he's going to get on the whaleboat and go down to go after the whale. Remember, you go on the boats and you leave the ship to go after the whale.
We'll talk tomorrow, mate, tonight, and the white whale lies down there, tied by head and tail. He gave the word, and still gazing round it, was steadily lowered through the cloven blue air to the deck. In due time the boats were lowered, but as standing in the shallow stern, Ahab just hovered upon the point of this descent. He waved to the mate, who held one of the tackle ropes on deck, and bade him pause. Starbuck, sir. For the time my soul's ship starts upon the voyage, Starbuck. Aye, sir, thou wilt have it so. Some ships sail on the ports, and even afterwards are missing, Starbuck. True, sir, saddest truth. Some men die at ebb tide, some at lower water, some at full of the flood, and I feel now like a billow that's all one crescent cone.
Now we're seeing that finally Starbuck and Ahab are having like an actual conversation. They're not fighting at this moment. Why? Because Ahab's thinking, I probably am not going to be able to make it back. So therefore, why continue fighting? Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, my captain, noble heart, go not, go not. See its brave man that weeps. How great the agony of the persuasion then.
So right there, Starbuck is giving those lines of "Oh Captain, my Captain." That's the reason why we read the "Oh Captain, my Captain" poem from Walt Whitman. You're gonna see that before he goes gets to the sea, what do he and Starbuck do? They shake hands. Finally, in some way, making peace. Go ahead.
Oh, captain, my captain, noble heart, go not, go not. See, it's a brave man that weeps. How great the agony and persuasion then. Lower away, cried Ahab, tossing the mate's arm from him.
So right there, he was, "Oh Captain, my Captain," he said this line, and lower away, say Ahab, and he just pulled away and just went down. Go ahead.
Cried Ahab, tossing his mate arm from him. Stand by the crew. In an instant, the boat was pulling round close under the stern. The sharks, cried a voice of the low cabin window there. Oh, master, my master, come back.
So the problem is not what we did. Now the problem is we're having sharks around now.
But Ahab heard nothing from his own voice of the high-lifted den that boat leaped on. Yet the voice spoke true, for scarce had he pushed from the ship, when numbers of sharks seemingly rising from out of the dark waters beneath the hull, maliciously snap at the blades of the oars. Every time they
they're biting, they're rowing with the oars, and they're being bitten by the sharks. Go ahead.
Every time they dipped in the water, and in the way accompanied by the boat with their bites, it's a thing not uncommonly happening. To the whaleboats and those crowding, moving in huge numbers of seas, the sharks at times, based on what seen or what seemed obviously falling them in the same smart about the future. way that float over closely watch the flags of marching military units in the east.
Okay, stop there. The sharks are like going around and going after the little whale boat. However, they're comparing it with the vultures. The vultures, when the army is marching towards the war. Remember the example that I gave you about the Civil War? The army is marching with the flag towards their battle. And like the vultures are just going around, flying around, because they know that eventually someone is going to die from those people. And right there is when they're going to attack and they're going to have their feast. Same thing with the sharks. You're here, inevitably at some point, you're either going to die or fall to the water. And we're going to be able to get you.
But these were the first sharks that had been watched, followed by the Pequots and Pequot, since the white whale had been first saw and discovered. Whether it was Ahab's crew or all tiger yellow dangerous white people, and therefore their flesh more musky to the senses of the sharks. A matter sometimes well known to affect them. However it was, they seemed to follow that one boat without molesting the others. Heart of the steel shape, whispered Starbuck, looking over the side and following with his eye the moving back or way boat.
Stop there. Okay, when they're talking about the tiger yellow barbados, remember that we were saying of that smell. Since they're not taking a bath for a long time, that's gonna create some layers of dirt and salt and everything. And all that smell combined is gonna be a scent that is gonna attract the sharks. That's why that boat, they were gonna continue following. Go ahead.
Can you yet move around with no fear that sight, lowering the boat between the cruel sharks and followed by them? Open mouth to the chase and the critical third day. For when 3 days flow together in the continuous intense hunt, be sure the first is in the morning, the second the noon, and the third the evening at the end of the thing.
Okay. Very important. Can anyone get your cell phone real quick and search for the riddle of the Sphinx? The riddle of the Sphinx. The riddle of the Sphinx. What's the riddle of the Sphinx? And you're gonna read it. Or if anyone knows what's the riddle of the Sphinx, pop it out. The riddle of the Sphinx. Yeah, read it. But read the riddle per se. What walks?
What is the creature that walks on four legs in the morning?
Okay, read it louder.
What is the creature that walks on four legs in the morning, two legs at noon, and three in the evening?
What is that creature? The human being. Why?
Because when you're a baby, you walk on four legs.
When you're a baby, that will represent, and look at the text, that will represent the morning. Next,
The kid.
when you're a man, all right, when you're a grown-up man, you're gonna walk in how many legs? Two legs. You're gonna walk straight forward in two, and that will represent the noon. And then when you're when you're old, you walk in three because you're two legs and a cane, and that will be the what? The evening. That will represent three stages of life. You're born, you're a baby, you grow up, and you're an adult, and eventually you're decline as you're being old, and you eventually will die. Stages of life. We're gonna discuss that next year when we go with Oedipus the King. Go ahead.
Be that and what it may, oh my God, what is this shoots through me and leaves me so deadly calm, yet expectant, fixed at the top of the sharking with fear or emotion, horror. Future things swim before me as in the empty outlines and skeletons. All the past has somehow grown and blurred. Merry girl, you fade in the pale glories behind me. Boy, I seem to see but your eyes grow beautiful putting under a spell. Strangest problems of life seem clearing. But clouds sweep between and my journey's end's coming. My legs feel faint, like the hoo-haws walked it all day. Feel your heart beats it yet. Stir, stir yourself, Starbuck. Stick run, musical burst it off. Move, move, speak out loud. Well had sound, but intending to be near him at the next rising. He held on his way like little sideways from the ship. The fascinating crew maintaining the deepest extreme silence had beaten waves. Hammered and hammered against the opposite or fighting again or bow. Drive, drive in your nails, oh you waves, to the uttermost heads drive them in. You put the strike thing without a lid, and no coffin and no hearse can be mine. And heft only can kill me. Ha ha. Suddenly the waters around them slowly enlarged in the broad circles, then quickly ascended as if sideways sliding from the underwater berg of ice, quickly rising to the surface.
So he's saying that no one is going to be able to kill me. There's not going to be no coffin for me. However, right now the water is rising, getting inside the whaleboats. Right.
A low rumbling broken down with the trail's ropes, harpoons, and lands a huge form shot lengthwise, but not directly from the sea, covered in a thin bending the cover of mist. It floated for a moment in the rainbowed air, and then fell unloading back into the deep, crushed 30 feet upwards. The water flashed in an instant like heaps of mountains, then broke and sank in the shower of flakes, then leaving the circling surface creamed like a new milk around the marble. Okay,
they're describing, a lot of you thought about a rainbow, some of you thought that a rainbow came out. No, it's that it's describing that all of a sudden they're on the whaleboat, and they're starting to listen to the whale dig down the water. And everyone is in like frozen mode, like expecting something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. All of a sudden, Moby Dick is gonna come out of the water, jump, and right there it says like a rainbow because it's gonna jump like an arc. Make that jump, and he's gonna get into the water, and that splash will be when Moby goes back on top. How do you think they're feeling right now? It's not the same when you're expecting something than when you actually see it, and see it like up close. Right.
For the water splashed for an instant like heaps of fountains, then brokely sank in the water of flakes, leaving the circling surface cream like a new milk around the marble truck of the whale. Give away, cried Ahab to the oarsmen, and the boats quickly moved forward to the tack. But maddened by yesterday's fresh irons that rusted in him, Moby Dick seemed combinedly possessed by all the angels that fell from heaven. The wide levels of welded tendons overspreading his broad white forehead.
Stop there. Can you repeat the line of the angel? By every angel that has fallen.
Moby Dick seemed combinedly possessed by all the angels that had fell from heaven.
Okay. Moby Dick seemed possessed by all the angels falling for heaven. What do they mean with the angels falling from heaven? What? What do they throw at Moby Dick? Those are the angels falling from heaven. All of the harpoons that are coming towards Moby Dick. And every time a harpoon hits Moby Dick, it's like gets more and more possessed. Go ahead. So it's not, don't take it literal that it's an angel or something like that. No. Angels are falling from heaven representing the harpoons are thrown. And the harpoons that they have thrown throughout their history. Because it's not the first time they're going after Moby Dick. But
the wide levels of the welded tendons overspreading his broad white forehead beneath the transparent skin looked knitted together as head-on he came, his tail among the boats, and once more whipped them apart, spilling out the irons and lances from the two mates, boats, and dashing in on one side and the upper part of the bows, but leaving Ahab's almost without a scar.
And eventually it's going to hit the boat. It's going to rattle the boat big time. Go ahead.
While Dagu and Queequeg were stopping in straight planks as the whale, swimming out from them, turned and showed one whole surround as he shot by them again. And that moment a quick cry went up, tied round and round the fish's back, pinned by the turns upon turns in which during the past night the whale had reeled the involutions of the lines around him, and half-turned body of the Parsee was seen.
You have the Parsee, go ahead.
His saddle clothes ragged edged and to shreds. His stretched out eyes turned full upon old Ahab.
What was stuck in the body of the whale? Yeah, but there was something like sticking from the body of the whale. A body of a man, Parsee, was right there stuck. Like half of the body was right there. And the eyes of the person were staring at Captain Ahab. You're going to see the next line that it said, the harpoon dropped from his hand. It's like you're holding the harpoon and you all of a sudden see that dead body right there. You're like, shucks. And that's the way Captain Ahab was, completely in shock when he saw that. And that was from a previous battle. What?
I've been fooled, pulling a deep breath. Yes, Parsee, I see you again. Yes, and you left before. And this then in the vehicle for dead people that you did promise. But I hold you at the last letter of your word. For in the second vehicle go friends to the ship. Those boats are useless now. Repair them if you can in time, and come back to me. Have not Ahab will die. Down men. The first thing that but offers to jump from this boat, I stand in. The thing I kill. You are not an other men, but my arms and my legs, and so obey me. Where the whale's gone down again.
So, Ahab is demanding his man, you know what? Go back to the ship. Until I drop this harpoon from my hand, I'm not going to leave this boat. So I'm going to remain here until I kill this whale. You guys, you can go back. Go back to the boat. Go ahead. To the ship, I'm sorry.
But he looked too near the boat, as if the particular place of the last meeting had been but a stage in his trip. Moby Dick was now again steadily swimming forward, and had almost passed the ship, which so far had been sailing in the contrary direction to him. Though the press in her advance had been stopped, he seemed swimming it with his top velocity, and now only decided upon pursuing his own straight path in the sea.
It's like he's not looking after going and attacking anymore. He just wants to go to the open sea and continue on.
Oh, Ahab, cried Starbuck. Not too late it is, even now, the third day to stop. See, Moby Dick seeks you not. It is you that madly seeks him.
So right there, Starbuck is like, you should stop. Moby Dick is not looking for you. Once he sees that Moby goes on the open sea, it's like, see, she's not after you. You're the one that is going and going after and after. But
Setting sail to the rising wind, the lonely boat was quickly drove to the direction of the wind. But both oars and canvas, and last when Ahab was sliding to the boat, so near as apparently to distinguish Starbuck's face as he leaned over the rail. He addressed him to turn the boat about and follow him not too fast as the reasonable time. Peeking upwards, he saw Tastego, Queequeg, and Dagu actively mounting to the three masts.
so what they're gonna do? They're gonna get in the ship, and slowly they're gonna get the ship and go. The boat here and the ship here. Like go, not lose sight, and go slowly. Don't go too quick because they know they're together. Go ahead.
While the boatmen were swinging to the two stab boats which had been lifted to the side, and were busily at work in repairing them, one after the other dodged the crags as he sped. He also caught flying impressions of stud and flask, employing themselves on deck among packs of new iron and lances. As he saw all this, as he heard the hammers in the broken boats, far other hammers seemed driving at the nail into his heart.
What are the hammers doing? They're nailing what? Trying to fix the boats. So you hear those hammers. As you hear like those hammers try to fix the boats, it's like, what do you think is nailing? It's like a nail to his heart. In some way, for him, it's painful seeing that some of his boats are being broken down. and the whale's starting to get advantage of this. You get less boats, it's more difficult to go after her.
But he organized something new, and now marking that the flag was gone to main masthead, he shouted to Tastego, who had just marked the flag was gone in the main masthead. He shouted to Tastego, who had just gained that post, to descend again from another flag, and a farmer nails and so nail it to the mast.
So it's like the flag is not there, you grab another flag and nail it. Because flag in some way could represent, as long as we see the flag, we have hope. As long as we see it, we have hope. Go ahead.
Whether tired by the 3 days running chase and the resistance to the swimming in the tide basket he bore, and whether it was some hidden deceitfulness and malice in him, whichever was true, the white whales was now began to reduce, as it seemed from the boat so rapidly nearing him once more. Though indeed, and whales' last start had not been spoken, had been so long as one as before. And still as Abraham glided over the whales, the cruel sharks accompanied him, and so persistently struck to the boat, and continuously bit at the flying oars, and the blades became jagged and crunched.
So the whale was full speed towards the sea. However, the whale is going to stop when he's noticing that the boats are getting closer. However, sharks are also following the little boat. So sharks are not out of the picture yet. All right.
And so continuously bit after the flying oars, and the blades became jagged and crunched, and left small pieces of wood in the sea at almost every dip. Do not consider them. Those teeth would give new rowlocks to the oars. Pull on. This that better rest the shark's jaw from the flexible water.
They barely have rows available to go on because they have been bitten by the sharks. So they're not almost able to move, because if they're not, they can't oar. What's gonna happen? They're not able to move. But
But at every bite, sir, the thin blades grow smaller and smaller. They will last long enough. Pull on. But who can tell? He murdered. Whether these sharks swim to the feast of the whale or on a have. But row. Okay, all alive, we near him. The helm, take the helm, let me pass. And so saying, 2 of the oarsmen helped him forward to the bows and the flying boat. At length the craft was cast to one side, and ran ranging along with the white whale flank. He seemed strangely oblivious of its advance, and the whale sometimes will, and Ahab was fairly within the smoky mountain mist, which threw off from the whale's spout, curled around his gray mud not come. He was even his closer to him. When his body arched back and both arms lengthwise high lifted to the poise, he darted his fierce iron and his far fiercer curse to the hated whale. At both steel and curse sank to the socket as he sucked into the morass. Moby Dick sideways with spasmodically rolled his knife blank around the bow, and without staving a hole in it, so suddenly canked the bow over that had not been before the elevated part of the gunwale, to which he then clung, Ahab would once more have been tossed into the sea.
stop right there. Go ahead.
As it was, 3 of the oarsmen who formed near, not the precise instinct of the dark, and were therefore unprepared for its attacks. These were flung out, so fell that in an instant 2 of them touched the gunwale. Again, and rising to its level on a combined wave, hurled themselves bodily and board again. The 3rd man helplessly dropping astern, but still afloat and swimming. Almost instantaneously, with a mighty volition of ungraduated instantaneous swiftness, the white whale darted through the weltering sea. But when Ahab cried out to his stern men to take new turns with the line and hold it so, and commanded the crew to turn around on their seats and tow the boat up to the mark, the moment the treacherous line felt that double strain and tug, it snapped in the empty air. What breaks in me? Something and cracks. This hole again. Row, row, burst in upon him. Hearing the tremendous rush of the sea crashing boat, the whale wheeled around to present his blank forehead at bay. But in that evolution, catching sight of the nearing black-holed ship, seemingly seeing in it the source of all his persecutions, bethinking it may be a large and imposing foe, of a sudden he drilled down upon its advancing prow, smiting his jaw amid fiery showers of foam. Ahab staggered. His hand and his forehead were wounded. I grow blind, hands stretched out before me that I may yet grope my way. Isn't it night? The whale, the ship, cried the quivering boatman.
No, these guys are desperate because they know that it's getting more difficult to go on.
Oars, oars, inclines downwards to your depth. Oh, see, that air, it be forever too late. Ahab may slide this last time upon his mark. I see, the ship, dashed on my men, will not save my ship, but as the boatmen violently forced their boat through the sledge-hammering seas, the before whale-smitten bow ends of two planks burst through, and in an instant, almost the temporarily disabled boat lay nearly level with the waves, its half-walking, splashing crew trying hard to stop the gap and bundle up the pouring water. Meantime, for that one beholding instant, the Ashtego top hammer remained suspended in his hand, and the red flag half wrapping him as a cloth. Then it streamed itself straight from him.
These guys are almost dying, and still Tashtego has the hammer and the flag. Go ahead.
Has his own forward-flowing heart, while Starbuck and Stubb, standing upon the bowsprit beneath, caught sight of the down-coming monster just as soon as he. The whale, up helm, oh all ye sweet powers of air, now hug me close. Let not Starbuck die, if die he must, in a woman's fainting fit. Up
So they're
helm,
saying, hey, if Starbuck is gonna die, don't let him die here. Let him die in the lap of a woman. In this case, like in the company of a woman, of a wife. So if Starbuck is gonna die, let him die with a wife, old or whatever, but die home, in the comfort of his home, with a wife, not here at sea.
up helm, I say, ye fools, the jaw, it this the end of all my bursting prayers, all my lifelong loyalty. O Ahab, lo, you're at work. Steady, Osman, steady. Nay, nay. Uphill again. He turns to meet us. Oh, his unforgiving face drives on towards one, whose duty tells him he cannot depart. My God, stand by me now. Stand not by me, but stand under me.
It's like we challenge nature, we challenge everything, but we're in a tough situation. What happens? My God, stand by me now. Like right there is when we start looking out of nature. Go ahead.
But stand under me, whoever you are that will not help Stubb, for Stubb too sticks here. I smirk at you, you smirking whale. Whoever helped Stubb, or kept Stubb awake, but Stubb's own unwinking eye, and now poor Stubb goes to bed upon a mattress that is all too soft. Would it were stuffed with bushes? I smirk at you, you smirking whale. Look, the sun, moon, and stars. I call you assassins of a good fellow, as ever spouted up his ghost. For all that, I will yet ring glasses with you. Would you but hand the cup? Oh, you smirking whale, but there'll plenty of action soon. Why fly you not? Oh Ahab, for me, off shoes and jacket. To it, let stuff die in its drawers. I'm all stale and exaggerating death, though. Cherries, cherries, cherries. Oh fast. For one red cherry, ere we die.
Stop. So they know they're gonna die, but they don't want to die there. It's like they don't want their lives to end the way they're about to end. And they're hoping to be back at Nantucket. But remember, they're far, far away from Nantucket. And now barely they don't have nothing to go back. Okay? Paula, continue.
Cherries, I only wish that we were where they grow. Oh, stop. I hope my poor mother, John, my part pay ere this. If not, few coppers will now come to her.
Okay, stop there. And now they're starting to think about the relatives. But like thinking about the mothers and everything, the people that have left behind. Remember, when you go on the voyage, you are going with the expectation that we're going to come back. But in this case, not a lot of people do so.
From the ship's motion, nearly all the seamen now hung inactive. Hammers, bits of plank, lances, and harpoons, mechanically maintained in their hands, just as they had darted from their various employments. All their enchanted eyes intended upon the wheel, which from side to side, strangely predestinating his head, sent a thick band of overspreading semicircular foam before him as he rushed. Retribution, swift vengeance, eternal madness, were in his whole aspect, in spite of all that mortal man can do. The solid white reinforcement of his forehead hits the ship's starboard bow, till men and timbers reeled. Some fell flat upon their faces. Like dislodged trucks, the heads of the harpooners high up shook their bold like wings. Through the breach they heard the water flow, as mountain torrents down the watercourse. The ship, the coffin, the second coffin, cried Ahab from the boat. Its wood would only be American.
It's like, look at the ship. How strong is the ship? And he's going to have to quote, its wood could only be American. Like, that wood is so good because he's American. Look at the ego of this guy right here. What?
Driving beneath the setting ship, the well ran, quivering along its keel, but turning underwater, swiftly shot the surface again, far off the other boat. But within a few yards of Ahab's boat, where for a time he lay inactive, I turned my body from the sun. What ho? Tashteo. Let me hear your hammer. Oh, you three unsurrendered spires of mine.
You unsurrender spires of mine. What he's representing saying. You three unsurrender spires of mine. Who are you referring to? He's referring to
Harpooners.
the harpooners. Very good.
You uncracked heel, and only God bully hold. You firm deck and arrogant tongue, and holy pointed skull. Death flourished should. Must you then perish and without me? Am I cut off from the last fond pride of minister shipwreck captains? Oh lonely death, oh ungodly life. Oh, now I know I feel topmost frankness lies in my topmost good. Ho, ho, on all your furthest bounds, for you now in your boats billows of my whole forlorn life. And top this one few waves of my death, towards you all destroying but unconquering well. To the last I grapple without you. From the hell's heart I stab at you. For hate's sake, I spit my last breath at you. Sing all prophets and all pierces to one common food. And since neither can be mine, let me then to pieces while still chasing you. Though tied to you, you damned will. Thus I give up the spear. The harpoon was darted. The hurt well flew forward. Without igniting velocity, the line ran through the grove. Ran forward. Ahab bent over to clear it. He did clear it. But the flying trunk caught him around the neck, and boisterously as Turkish mates bowstring their victim. He was
So what happened? Like he got cut around the neck with the line.
Who ate him?
Yeah. Yeah, he said something very, "Thou damn whale, thus I give up the spear. My last spear, I'm gonna give it up, throwing at you." And eventually, his vengeance, is gonna get him what? It's gonna get him killed. Go ahead.
He was shot off the boat before the crew knew he was done. Next instant, the heavy eye joined in the rope's final and flew out of the stark empty tank, knocked down a rower, and destroying the sea, disappeared in its depths. For an instant, the transport's crew stood still, then turned. The ship, great God, where's the ship? Soon they through cloudy, confusing mediums saw her sidelong fading background, as in the gaseous bottom or down. Only the uppermost blast out of the water, while fixed like captivation or devotion or fate to their once lofty arches. The patent harpooners still maintain their sinking lookouts on the sea. And now, coordinated circles seize the lone boat itself and all its crew, and each floating arm, and every last pole and spinning, animate and inanimate, all around and round in one vortex, carried the fallen ship of the teapot out of the sight. But as the last groanings intermixingly poured themselves over the sunken head of the Indian at the mainland, leaving a few inches of the erect spot yet visible.
What happened to the big one? Sands. Go ahead.
Together with long streaming yards of the flag, which calmly undulated, with the Brahmin coinciding over the destroying surging mass they almost touched. At that instant, a red arm and a hammer hovered backwardly, uplifted in the open air, in the act of flinging the flag faster and yet faster to the decreasing smoke. A sky hawk that thumpingly had followed the main truck downwards from its natural home among the stars, biting at the flag and accommodating as they go there. This bird now chances to intercept its white fluttering wing between the hammer and the wing, and simultaneously feeling the other wall thrill the submerged savage beneath its deep dead depth, kept his hammer frozen there, and so the bird of heaven, with angelical shrieks and his imperial beak thrust upwards, and his whole active form folded in the flag of day, weighed down with its ship, which, like Saturn, would not seem to know, so she had dragged the living part of heaven along with her.
So it's like this. Look at the line. It will not go down without taking lives with it. So the ship is not going to go along. It's going to take the lives of them also. Go ahead.
She had dragged a living part of heaven